Bismillah Rahman Rahim, Lecture 1, Literary Devices, and we can also say this figurative speech. So they are the synonyms and they are same. So what is literary devices? What are literary because devices are lot of available, and that is a very important part of literature. You can find these literary devices in literature, texts, in stories, in novel, and as well as you can find them in poetry. So, what are literary devices? Literary devices are tools used by writers and poets to enhance their writing. They include a variety of techniques and structures that makes their work more meaningful, complex, and interesting. So that is the basic purposes which are behind using this technique. So now we will see that how many are they. As I mentioned over here 28, but they aren't 28, they are more than 28. But because for your understanding I just included 28 in it. Why I included that much literary devices in this videos? So the purpose is that because these are all available in poetry, and poetry is a very important part of ninth and 10th board exam, and there is a question in which you have to find out literary devices in the specific stanza. So if you know about the maximum literary devices, then you will be able to find out them in your stanza. Otherwise, it would be difficult for you to find out. So that's why I added in this list 28. So they are not that much difficult. Inshallah Ta'ala, I will teach you with examples, with lot of examples from poetry and from literature. In this way, you can easily tell me that how they are, and you can share your views in comment box. So the list are here. Devices are here. So similes, metaphor, that's second one. They are very popular literary devices. Personification, that is also very popular. Hyperbole, understatement, alliteration, assonance, onomatopoeia, oxymoron, irony, metonymy, lateus, euphemism, consonance, imagery, apostrophe, refrain, enjambment, rhyme, after rhyme, repetition, repetition is 20th, anaphora, epistrophe, paradox, meter, black verse, free verse, symbolism, and pun. 28th is the pun. So what is simile? Now I will tell you the definition of simile. Simile is a figure of speech that compares two unlike things using the word like, or as to highlight a similarity between them. It is a direct comparison that helps to create the vivid imagery, emphasize a point, or evoke a particular emotional response. Here are some examples of simile with explanation and usage in these sentences. Okay, so as you know, there are two words. They're visible. Look at here, like, and the second as. So when you want to identify that this structure, this context has a simile or not, so you can just see like or as. If this like is used in this sentence or any poetry or literature, there is, so one thing that is there a comparison in it, or in that comparison they use like in it, so you can easily find, you can easily say that this is simile. And if there is as in the in the text, so you can also say that this is simile. So what is now you it will be inshallah more clear in these example. So the first example has been taken from Wordsworth poem, very famous poem. One thing more which I want to say, this poem has two names. Okay, so the first name is the, which is very popular name, I wandered lonely as a cloud, and the second name is the daffodils. So you can recognize this one poem with two names. In this example, the poet says, I wandered lonely as a cloud. So the poet is comparing his wandering loneliness with what? With cloud. And he used as between them, between the comparison. So you can easily say that the poet used the comparison, and he uses the comparison, he joined this comparison by using as in it. So that the extension of this stanza, that floats on higher o'er walls and hills. So he completed this sentence line in this way. Wordsworth compared himself to a cloud using the simile lonely as a cloud, emphasizing his solitary state and free floating nature of his wandering. So now we will see another example. For Robert Burns' poem A Red Rose, a red rose. So that is the name of the poem. So the text from the poem, Oh my law is like a red rose that is newly sprung in June. So in this example, as you see that the poet used like in it. For what? For the comparison between love and the red rose. So Burns compared his love to a red rose using the simile like a red rose, emphasizing its beauty, freshness, and deep affection. So there are some more examples from literature. As I told you that these literary devices used in for both from for poetry and for literature. Here simile was as bright, her smile was as bright as the morning sun. So now the writer is comparing smile with the sun, with the bright sun, and he used as between this comparison. So as what? What as? As is a simile. This simile compares the brightness of her smile to the brightness of the morning sun, emphasizing its warmth and radiance. He fought like a lion defending his cubs. This simile likened his fighting style to that of a lion protecting its young, highlighting his bravery and furious determination. So, what was in this comparison? Was like has been used in this comparison. She slept like a log after the long hike. So the writer is comparing the sleep with the log. Log. Log is basically the uh, wood piece. So like cutted wood piece. Log we say it. So like has been used in this comparison. This simile compare her deep sleep to the stillness and solidness of a log, indicating how exhausted she was from hiking. Explanation and usage. So, what is the explanation of it and what is the usage of this simile? Simile serve several purposes in writing and speech. Vivid imagery. They create clear mental images by comparing familiar things to less familiar things. Emphasizes simile highlights specific qualities or characteristics of the subjects being compared. Enhanced description. They enrich description by making them more colorful and evocative. Emotional effect. Similes can evoke emotions by associating feeling or experiences with concrete images or experience. So now overall simile are effective literary devices that help writers and poets to enhance their poets to engage the readers, create memorable description, and convey complex ideas and emotions through simile and relatable comparison. So now is metaphor. What is metaphor? So the metaphor is a figure of speech that directly refers to one thing by mentioning another for rhetorical effect. It asserts that the two things are alike in some way, often without using the word like and as, which are used in simile. Metaphor can straightforward or more complex, and they are used to convey deeper meaning, create imagery, and provoke thoughts. Here are some examples of metaphor with explanation and usage in this sentence. So that is the definition of metaphor. But what is actually metaphor? So metaphor, there is one thing which is very clear and obvious and easy to understand. Metaphor and simile, they both are used for comparison. That is the similarity between metaphor and simile. But in metaphor comparison, we do not use like and as. If we use like or as in the comparison, so it would be simile then. Or if we do not use like or as in the comparison in the text, so or there will be a comparison, so we will clearly find that this is metaphor. Now we will see in this examples, then you will easily understand. So these examples are basically taken from literature. Life is our journey. This metaphor, life is a journey. This metaphor suggests that life is similar to a journey with its various paths, obstacles, and destinations, implying that life is full of experiences and adventures. So, how so look at this. There is a comparison. Life is a journey. Life, or what is the comparison in this? Life and a journey. There is a comparison between life and journey, but there is no use of as in it. So I will make with simile or simply sentence. Life is, if I will use life is as a journey. So what did I say? As. So if I use in this sentence life is as a journey, so what did I make? I I made a simile because I use as this in this sentence. Or if I use life is like a journey, so if I will use like in this sentence, then it would be again simile. This sentence will be converted in simile. Or if I will do not use as or like in the sentence, and there will be a comparison, so it will consider metaphor. So that is the basic difference between simile and metaphor. This metaphor, as I told you, I explained this, and this line is this line has been taken from the text like original. Life is a journey filled with unexpected twists and turns. The words are stage. The words are stage. This line has been taken from William Shakespeare's play As You Like It. The Shakespeare compared the world to a stage and the people to actors, suggesting that life is like a theatrical performance where everyone plays different roles. So there is the original text from the book. All the worlds are stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exist and their entrance, and one man in his time plays many parts. So that's a very beautiful play. Okay, so more example for your understanding. Time is a thief. This metaphor suggests that time steals movement and opportunities from us, emphasizing its fleeting nature. Sentence: She lamented how quickly her children had grown up, feeling as if time had been a thief. Her eyes were sparkling diamonds. This metaphor compares her eyes to diamonds, suggesting that they are bright, beautiful, and captivating. Sentence, original sentence. When she smiled, her eyes were sparkling diamonds, lightening up the room. The classroom was a zoo. This metaphor compares the classroom to a zoo, implying it was noisy and chaotic. So, original sentence: During the last period on a Friday, the classroom was a zoo. The stormy sea was a raging beast. This metaphor compared the sea during a storm to a wild, furious, uncontrollable beast, emphasizing its power and danger. Sentence, the original sentence: The stormy ice was a raging beast, twisting the small boat. mercilessly. Her heart is a cold iron. This metaphor compares her heart to a cold iron, suggesting he is unemotional and unfeeling. So, the sentence: after the betrayal, his heart becomes a cold iron, impervious. Impervious means no allowing to love. So, the snow was a white blanket covering the earth. This metaphor compares the snow to a blanket, suggesting it gently and completely covered the ground. Sentence: the snow was a white blanket covering the earth, muffling all sounds. So, what's the meaning of muffling? Unfold, or like, infold, like cover, envelope, clock, over, cover up, and wrap. So, what's the meaning of muffling? Wrap, something cover up. She has a heart of a gold. This metaphor suggests that she is very kind and generous. Sentence: everyone loved her because she has a heart of gold. The city is a jungle. This metaphor compares the city to a jungle, suggesting it is wild, chaotic, and full of danger. Sentence: navigating through the bustling streets, he felt like the city was a jungle. So here are some more example, that this example from poetry. Hope is the thing with feathers, from Emily Deacon's poem. This metaphor compares hope to a bird, suggesting it is light, uplifting, and resilient. Hope is a thing with feathers that perches. Perches mean rest, sit, or kind of settled in the soul. The sun was a golden coin. This metaphor compares the sun to a golden coin, emphasizing its brightness and value. Sentence: as it sit, the sun was a golden coin slipping beneath the horizon. So that is another concept of a writer. The writer is comparing the sun with a golden coin. So explanation and usage of this metaphor. Metaphor serve several purposes in writing and speech. Vivid imagery: they create striking and memorable images by comparing two unlike things directly. Emphasize: metaphor highlights specific qualities and characteristics of the subjects being compared. Enhance description: they enrich description by adding layers of meaning and making them more engaging. Emotional impact: metaphors can evoke strong emotions by connecting familiar experiences or objects with deeper meaning. Overall, metaphors are powerful literary devices that enhance the richness and depth of language, making writing more impactful and expensive. Personification. What is personification? So, personification is a literary device where human traits, emotions, or actions are attributed to non-human entities, objects, or abstract concepts. This helps creates vivid imagery and can evoke emotional responses from a reader. Here are some examples of personification with explanation and usage in sentence. So what is in this definition? So basically, one thing you have to keep in your mind, that personification is like if you give the non-human to a human quality to non-human, but that is all. You will like in personification, the writer or the poet gives the human quality to non-human entities or non-human things, and for in this way they create a kind of abstract concept. Example from poetry: William Shakespeare's poem Daffodils. And what was the previous name which I mentioned? I wandered lonely as a cloud. That is the second name of this poem. Okay, so 10,000. So that is the text. 10,000 saw I at a glance, toasting their heads in the sprightly dance. In sprightly dance. So now the poet is saying that the daffodils, the flower heads, the flowers, um, the poet compares the flowers with heads. So who has head? Head, a human being has a head. So in this example, the poet gives the human characteristics to the flower. And dance is again the human ability, and then human skill, and the poet gives it to daffodil. So that is another example that the uh, poet is comparing this daffodils with human. Example: Wordsworth personifies the daffodil by attributing them with the human action of toasting their heads, which emphasizes their lively and joyful movement. In the poem The Rain, that is another poem by W.H. Davis, that is included in the 10th grade syllabus, states, I hear leaves drinking water. So how can it possible that leaves drinking water? They absorb water, but they do not drink water, and that is another characteristic, human characteristic, which the poet gives to the non-human thing. So that is again the example of personification. So drinking rain personifies leaf by describing them as drinking the rain, which gives them a sense of vitality, liveliness. The poem Mowing. So the Mowing poem is has been taken from 9th grade syllabus, because that was very important for me to include these examples, because in this way you can easily understand, and you can add these example in your poem as well. So in this, the Mowing poem by Robert Frost also personifies the scythe. Scythe is given human qualities by being described as whispering. How can it possible the scythe whispers? So that is another whispering quality is is based on human. So, but the poet gives it to the non-human. So, from Emily Dickin's poem, "Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourself and immortality." So that is another example. The Emily Dickinson personifies death as the courteous and the patient carriage driver, transforming the abstract concept of death into a tangible figure. From Robert Frost's poem The Road Not Taken, two roads diverged in the wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. Example, from personify the two road by suggesting they diverge and present choices as if they are sentient, sentient, alive path guiding the speaker decision making. So now these are the example from literature. Example from literature. In Shakespeare's poem Macbeth, stars hide your fires, let not light see my black and deep desires. So the Shakespeare personifies the stars by suggesting that they can hide and conceal themselves as if they have awareness and consciousness. So in the next example, the old house groaned. How can it possible? The house groaned. Groaned mean cry. As the wind rattled, shaked its windows. Examples. The house is personified with the human action of groaning, which makes it seem as if the house is expressing discomfort or distress. So, in the next sentence, the sun smiled down on the children playing in the park. Explanation. The sun is personified with the human action of the smiling, attributing it with a cheerful and benevolent demeanor. Demeanor mean attitude or manner. So in the next example, time flies when you are having fun. Time is personified as if it has wings and the ability to fly, which makes the concept of time passing quickly more tangible and relatable. So the wind, what was the in this example? The wind whispered through the trees. Explanation. The wind is given the human ability to whisper, suggesting a gentle and quick movement through the trees. Sentence. As night falls, the wind whispered through the trees, creating a soothing lullaby. The sun smiled down on the village. Explanation. The sun is personified by being given the human action of smiling, indicating warmth and brightness. Sentence. On the summer morning, the sun smiled down on the village, promising a beautiful day. Beautiful day. So, what is the explanation and what is the usage of this personification? Personification serves several purposes in literature and everyday language. Vivid description. It helps create vivid and imaginative description by making abstract concept or inanimate object more relatable and understandable. Emotional impact. It can evoke emotional responses from reader by attributing human emotions or behavior to non-human entities. Enhance narrative. It enhances storytelling by giving life and personality to characters, settings, or ideas that might otherwise seem ordinary or abstract. Overall, personification is a powerful literary device that allow writers or as well as poets to bring their writing to life, making it more engaging and meaningful for reader by humanizing the non-human aspect of their narratives. So that's all from my side. I explain three, and in my next video I will explain like two or three and maybe four in it, and in this way I will complete inshallah ta'ala all of that 28, and with lot of examples inshallah ta'ala I will like collect lot of example inshallah ta'ala. In this way you can easily understand all the devices, and if you want this text, so you can go to my website and I will share the link in the description, and you can get, and you can like copy this content, and there are some more text is available which is related to 9th and 10th syllabus, so you can get and you can learn from there. Thank you so much.